Welcome to episode 27 of the David Binkowski podcast. Today, my guest is Frank Garza. He is the father of NBA rookie and Detroit Piston Luka Garza. Luka was the college player of the year. They got drafted in the second round by the Detroit Pistons. And needless to say, did a lot more than turn some heads during the summer league this last summer. He just signed today his first NBA deal. So I have Proud Pop on here to talk about it, but I want you to learn more about Frank too. And so most of this episode is actually going to be learning more about Frank and then talking about what it was like raising Luka and training and doing all that stuff that as a coach, a father, and obviously an NBA fan, I can relate to and love to hear. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Give me a follow on Twitter if you're not already. I'm at Binkowski. Frank is Frank Garza 57. The podcast is TDBP official. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Now, here's my conversation with Frank Garza. So, Frank, welcome into the podcast.
Well, thank you, David. I'm happy to be here.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. It's a big, big day in Garza history, so to speak. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But I want people to get to know Frank Garza a little bit more before we talk about your son and his contract and Detroit and all those fun things. So, Frank, people know that you're obviously very, very involved with your son. You're out there on Twitter. If you're not following him, it's Frank Garza 57 on Twitter. But you have your own story too. And it starts off with you being a good high school player and playing at Idaho. Can you talk about that what that was like in terms of, the recruiting process, the whole thing of getting to Idaho? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, what insightful question, Dave. You can always tell a good interviewer by the quality of the question. So thank you for that and for asking that question. It's kind of, before I began, I would say hi to everyone, particularly your region, your island. Hey, what's going on? This is the Garza calling line. This is So I want to just shout out to everyone out there, particularly our Detroit fans, and I want to say it's a special moment, David. I don't know how you did it. Like the range of stars. What's this? The equinox, right? Did you do something with that? The whole thing today going on this weekend, everything, maybe all that. And think about that in terms of Luka now made a roster from a 52 pick, which had never been done before, converted to a guarantee. It hadn't happened in that history. So that's, I think, fairly cool. So let me get to your question, although I just had to say that because I'm kind of in the Lotus position. A couple of bricks. I don't levitate. I love so much levitating thoughts and joy because this has been a lifetime adventure together. We're just getting started now, but just true to say now he's a pro and to be able to say those words rather than just say it in a goal form or an affirmation or visualization. It's actually fact. So it really is. You got to first see it and you got to believe it and you got to be it. And that Luka's journey is a personification of that equation. And you see it everywhere else. That's why people love sports. You see it in tennis. You see the women's golfer, how young is she? And then same with tennis and stuff. So anyway, my story, basketball really saved my life as for many men and women. It's a game where you can play by yourself if you have no one else around. You get positive reinforcement every time the ball goes. It feels good when you make it and you hear that sound, David. It's a gratifying sport. It's unique that way. It's hard to do that with baseball. Yeah, you can throw a ball against the wall like I did. I was a pitcher, so I'd do that. But you're going to pitch to yourself, run to get on the mound, throw it, get down there, get it down. Football too, throw me the pass. So really that's how you almost a sanctuary, a solace from all that outside noise and go out and just be an artist. And imagine that's what it's like for performers, other artists that draw, do beautiful things from the inside out. And so anyway, that was what it was for me. So I fell in love with the game, as I still am today, as Luka is, and it just loves the game because it requires that to be good at anything. It's a love and a passion fuels the energy required to attain that level of acuity. And again, artists, it's like a jazz musician. You got to go through the classics. You got to go through the scales of harmonic. I'm an author on much. Flugelhorn, most dear times all the time. And Luka's actually a viola player for all this stuff. Viola player. Looks a little small in his gigantic hands, big body. But he plays a good song. So basketball, music served a very similar process for me, which is really the development of my prefrontal cortex, which was the ability to use imagination and somehow take that imagination and then have it become a reality. And we do it all the time anyway, but just to kind of try and see if I can take it over and be in control of it, a master of it, rather than being a victim. So I was all state, player of the year in my conference, did all this stuff for a guy who you think Luka can't jump. I don't know what they use, a little piece of paper or some kind of microscopic thing when I did high jump. I didn't even get off the ground. I never injured my ankles or knees because it's hard to do that, David. You don't leave the ground. Right? If you can't jump, there's really no way to get hurt. And all my buddies are dunkers and all that stuff. They're in canes now.
Yeah.
They can barely walk. They had hip replacement, knee replacement. I said, that's the punishment of giving me the sign and razzing me for dunking all the time when I could barely touch the net. But I was captain every team I played on. Probably one of the proudest thing is my career was that I was voted captain in a redshirt year. I transferred from Washington down to California, and this is getting to Idaho.
Yep.
To play JC ball. I knew I wasn't going to be a pro. The seasons move faster than me on the basketball court, right? And they didn't take out a stopwatch on when I ran. They took out a calendar. So I was just an awful, terrible dog meat athlete. But I was a leader. I could shoot, still can shoot. I got a hook shot from 15 that's deadly. And if you want me to, I'll post it. If there's enough interest, I'll post it.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, because it's an art form, I've shot thousands of them.
Yep.
Luka's going to shoot 2 coming up. So anyway, I go to JC. I'm an All-American there. And in California, you think she's not get picked up. That's how I thought I could get to D1. Because I didn't want to go to D1 ball, Division 1 ball. It's sat on the bench for 3 years. Play, maybe start, maybe half the time, maybe an obligatory start because I'm a senior and that's my first start in 4 years. I just didn't want to have that kind of basketball career because I was a star. And Anacortes, which was a great tradition, 10 championships, incredible wooden light coach, Lord Anderson, God bless his soul, he's left us, passed away last year, taught me so much about the game. I have books on my shelf for me that I read to Luka growing up. So Luka really, David, got that experience of how I fell in love with the game. And so I was able to share those thoughts, had him read to him some of those books that were read to us after we practiced and things like that. So I finished it at JC. I figured I'm going to get picked up. Hey, man, I'm All-American in California. It's kind of hard to do. And nobody. So anyway, fine. I went to school not just to eat my lunch, right, David? So, I went to study and I had a perfect, GPA. And so I got accepted at Harvard and I was going to go to Harvard and become an Ivy League dude. So I was set. It's kind of not what I figured I'd set a bunch of scoring records in the Ivy League. I could shoot. And when I played, one of the first leagues that ever had 3-point league was the Big Sky, which is Idaho. And so Idaho, what's going on in Idaho? Well, the year before I attended, they ended up in the Sweet 16, David. And the kind of ironies, like works and kind of quantum mechanics of the wall. Idaho beat Iowa at a killer overtime shot by Kellerman that bounced like flower time, bang, 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 and out as it went through the net. The Idaho Vandals won, made it the Sweet 16. Hearts in Iowa fell. They still talk about it. You can't even talk about it. It's too painful. Lute Olson was the coach. year later, he goes to Arizona, and rest is history. So really, who knows that my son would go to Iowa, that his jersey retired. And I can always say this, I'll have always this on my son, not like I want to have things on my son, but there's really nothing left short of my hook shot, Dave, that I can say, right, that, yeah, I do anything better than him. He just,
Right.
and my wife, I make sure that he's a better man. That's what our kids are. We want them to be better versions of our best selves.
Absolutely.
Better versions of our, of our best selves. So anyway, I can always say, hey, let's see, what's the score? Idaho versus Iowa in basketball. What's that score? 1-0. So anyway, I'm in on the campus in Arlington, like, oh man, I'm going to be an Ivy League dude. I'm going to do something. I'm this or that. And maybe get a chance to, like Bill Bradley, follow in his footsteps, becomes a Rhodes Scholar. I had that in mind. I wanted to be a Rhodes Scholar, like music, this. I had other interests and stuff like that. Anyway, I did a lot of Operation Share tutoring young kids. It just was a passion. Anyway, I get a call. And it's Coach Trouble, Bill Trouble, Luka's godfather. We passed away 3 years ago. 4 years. Anyway, he goes, hey, guards. He always called me guards. Guards. It's kind of a Spanish slang. Hey, guards. I say, what's up, Coach? I've been having a great time, man. I'm going to kick some butt out here, man. I tell you what, this isn't California. This is California League is tough, and guys ducking from the free throw line. And so it's like, okay, let's do it. And hey, listen, guards, you're going to Idaho. I should come again.
It's a little bit of a shift, Massive.
Not only Idaho, Moscow. He said, Moscow, Idaho. I said, Coach, hey, listen, you okay? You don't drink, but what? Somehow the Moscow. Are you confusing countries and cities? I know. So I goes, no, guards, I got the job at Idaho. I said, what are you talking about? What's a D1 school? He said, well, Moxon, who coached at Idaho, Sweet 16, got the job at Oregon in the Pac-10 at the time, not the Pac-12, but the Pac-10 back then.
Yep.
So anyway, he got the job there, vacancy in Idaho. Boom, they snapped up snapped up Lake Trumbo, and the rest is history. But for me, it's a blessing because I met Dan O'Brien, the world's greatest athlete, decathlon. Went to Idaho Vandal as a friend.
Yep.
And I'm going to hear from him here very shortly, I'm sure, about Luka's success. And I'm honored to call him a friend. And Kenny Ovard and many coaches up there. And he was a great football player. There are many track stars. I forget their names now. Mary Anderson, their team, Idaho's women's team, I think, finished in the top something higher than the men's one. So anyway, that's how I got to Idaho.
Yeah.
Was by being the best I could be, taking a route that would land me the Division One, which a lot of people ignore. They ignore the JC break route, and they got to really look at it because if you do it right, you can come in like I did and be the best player of the team. So it's something that that whole process, learning, Luka benefits from. The fabric of some of the deepest, core guiding principles, our philosophy of how to play the game, not do the game, but be a master. Play chess, not checkers. I went open dot. No, it's checker. It's checkers. Hey, that guy opened up the shot. I'm thinking first, get an angle. I mean, you're gonna think and be cerebral as a player.
Yep. And
it takes a while to get there because you look up, still till the 8th grade, would trip over the baseline.
Yep.
That's a painted line. And so he wasn't coordinated, right? So we had never so that journey led me to Idaho. And I'll tell you about the recruiting. There was none. I mean, I got done playing the state player in Washington. I got a couple letters and a postcard.
Yep.
I mean, back then you had to find the school. Hey, Coach David, can you look at? Can I come play? Can I please? Oh, you got to get in line, stand out there. They were kings. They could make you wait. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And I finished JC. I get a couple letters, and then I had to go myself to go. I had to hump it. And your coaches usually had to hump it to get you placed, like in a placement program.
Right.
which a lot of JCs do provide a bridge to the next level. But anyway, in saying to them from Luka's experience is to say contrast, is that what difference? We were late bloomers, of course, but they came in on a rush on 30-some plus offers. We had guys in the South, some of the schools in the South I'm not going to mention because it's stuff that went down there. We're singing songs into my voicemail. And they were singing some of the schools alma mater, some famous jazz singer, singing Georgia, singing that song, Georgia, they were all your body. And just some crazy stunts and crazy promises. And one recruiter was so aggressive, I finally took the call because I teach this stuff for a limited conscious selling, one of our companies where we teach leadership training and negotiation and how to have a dialogue that works. And so this guy get on the phone and go, hey, a very prominent school. And he goes, hey, one Luka, it's going to be right up. One Luka. He's going to start. He's going to this, going to that. Hey, coach, appreciate your enthusiasm. By the way, how many offers you got? Oh, geez, we got 22. I said, well, how many openings you have? Oh, we got one opening.
Yeah.
I said, so how many times have you had this conversation?
Yep.
Like you just said to me, so why don't we just deal with the truth about what's happening? Is all your other offers went through, and we're kind of at the end of the ladder. Can we begin? It started in honesty about what the hell's going on here. So it was really, I'm abhorred by professional sellers, which are recruiters. They're talking to young men that aren't. Just like in basketball, you try to play defense, David, so you can't get hurt. You're not going to get hurt. You know how to play defense, keep your body balanced. You're not going to get hurt out there because there's no path. You can really hurt, fall your neck, break your neck. It's the consequences like riding a motorcycle. If you fall, you get hurt, typically, And so you don't have that with these professional recruiters that are professional sellers. And so you got to be really careful and saying out to parents who really are perhaps prepared for all the sides of the university, which are like cathedrals, like pyramids, Giza, and stuff that have money, and it's intimidating. And
I went through this process with my son, not on the same scale, obviously, but I told him, I said, depending on where they're at in the recruiting process, it's basically musical chairs. They have a set number of scholarships they're offering. They're giving them out.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Musical chairs.
And as one kid accepts, then there goes chair. Or that kid takes the offer at, whatever other school. And now this coach is trying to find another kid to backfill. It's become a very strange business. Because as you said, even when I was in high school, I went to a camp in Western Michigan called Big Man Camp. You had to be 6'6" minimum to get in. And it was fantastic. I got to play as a point guard. And even though I was a center on my high school team, I got to play point guard. I'm throwing lobs at the 7-footers, and it was fantastic. You had a number on the back of your jersey.
That?
Yeah, you got a number on the back of your jersey. And as soon as you get home, there's letters from colleges saying, we saw you play at the camp and we'd love to talk with you more. And I mean, they still do that, but it was, that was where it went from being, I feel like you said, it was like you proactively could call a coach and say, can I get on the team? And then you start kind of putting yourself out there a little bit. And now it's like, like I said, it's a business. It's a straight up business at this point. And the athlete has to remember that because like you said, it feels good being recruited and getting those calls. But at the end of the day, you're one of 20, 25 of kids. So as we were talking about with, you mentioned Luka several times that from him to go from 2 left feet and tripping over a baseline to an NBA contract. Is he great about when you got involved, like really got involved? I mean, in terms of coaching and not just talking with him about the game, but like doing your drills and putting him through workouts?
No, it was earlier than that. We started early. When he loved it, he loved the game. I helped certainly foster an environment for him to fall in love with it. I had basketball stuff around. Hey, you can watch TV. Where are your choices? Basketball videos, Bird, Magic, Kareem, Team, and I think he just Pete Maravich. So I mean, there was a little strategy.
Yeah,
and then he just wanted to go shoot. So most of the early years was simply just showing him how to shoot correctly.
Yep,
and just letting him shoot for hours. I mean, we were on hours. Then probably the best thing that he did, not share this with anybody that's working with their kid and trying to develop it. Now, this is specific to basketball, so maybe there's a way to do it in another sport somehow. Is I, got a little Nerf basket, the Nerf ball. So as a young kid, he could see something happen on film or TV and then use his imagination to develop, seeing how he could do it on the court. Pretty soon, that move is duplicated. So it's a real way to accelerate growth and make it fun, rather than saying, do this drill, do that way. No, give them a Nerf basket. Let them have some film, and they'll take care of the rest with their imagination. It's what's created Einstein's interpretation of space-time. The theory of relativity. It's what Socrates, it's the same kind of process. So develop that early. Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. This is how you develop it. So even though he's playing in the Nerf basket, he's developing meta skills, music skills. He's imagining that when he can look at something, he can be cognitive about it. Because why? He's doing that process, dreaming like someone's guarding him, making a sound, hearing the music, smelling the popcorn, doing the hook, hearing the crowd. Yay! And nobody used to didn't do it so much. He put his jersey on. Put a jersey on for an upcoming game in that weekend in AAU. So seventh grader or advanced grade. So I just fostered that, let him do that, let him play, got real thick carpet. So he could fall down, smash into the wall, fall down, not break his arm. So I kind of planned for it, and make it cushy carpet. And so he got to, to do that as as he developed, and really developing a love for the game. I thought if it went off center off topic there. What was
No, that's fantastic.
no, it's not.
I agree.
Yeah, I started early with that, and then. The thing that I would like to caution folks out there, because I can't say, Luka and I did that. We went from probably one of the worst athletes on every team he's played on and being the best, having his jersey retired, and now he's a pro. So, I just want to say that's his heart, and it's also fundamentals in intelligence, intelligent basketball applied. And so, one of the things I was going to say, caution, David, is like sometimes early on, developers, not just parents, trainers, they try to just shove so much so fast onto a young person. You got to remember, if they can get 2 or 3 things in a year where they change, I'd be happy with 2. Fundamentally, they'll never repeat it. They'll never do it again because they know how to do it right. They'll never do it wrong. If you want to do it until you can't do it wrong, you want to take that kind of approach, particularly basketball.
Yep.
So that every step in the foundation, every brick in the foundation becomes when you move forward, not tumbling down, And so all along, David, so it had to make me fun. We'd go to the trampoline thing and have the basket up there. So he could, it was all caged in. He had to wear a helmet. But he could go up and dunk. He can go up and slam and dunk, on a trampoline. You get up, slam and see what you like, Jordan.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it fun.
Keep it fun. Yeah.
Just so nice.
Yeah.
Still getting exercise and getting a drill in like a Sigma pivot,
Yeah.
We're going to do a Sigma pivot. Or we're going to do the Mikan drill. I said to Luka when we got over 150,000 views on my Twitter, it's a pinned tweet, which is him doing a Mikan drill. It's a 50-shot Mikan drill we didn't miss. And because we don't, you do it time, so you do it faster and higher off the floor. So you can make it more challenging. But anyway, I said, you imagine now I think we have 200,000 viewers. You imagine 200,000 people watching the drill you used to not like to do it. And I made him do stuff in the beginning because I said, Dad, don't trust. Going to get sore. Going to get sore. His neck would get sore from looking up the basket to do a Mikan drill when he's small enough to push it all up. So anyway, they're on the way. I told him, but we finished off the film right before we started this. I said, hey, I told you growing up, I hope you won't be mad at me saying this. I don't think.
Well, every time when dad a bet in the jersey, so.
Yeah, no, I think you're okay with that because I've spilled that. I got to worry if I say something bad, comes up a pound you or something. No. As I told him growing up, David, I said, hey, I'd say, hey, look, you're going to shoot this for him in this way. He goes, well, hey, KD doesn't shoot that way. When he was younger, it wasn't KD, it was somebody else. So this guy doesn't shoot that way. He has a this. I said, well, here's the deal. When you're a pro, you can shoot however you want. I don't care. I mean, you're a pro. But until then, you're going to do what Dad says: get your elbow here, shoulder high, shoot for the back of the front of the rim, not the back of the rim. So you shoot at the full basket, not cut out half. Strictly geometry. So anyway, it's Euclid, right? So anyway, that's why he's such a great shooter. He's down at the basket. But it's like I told him today. So I said, okay, we hit that moment. Look up and he goes, well, what's going on? I said, hey, man, nothing I can say. You can do whatever. Shoot it behind your back. I'd show you eyes closed at the free throw line. You can shoot it or hit it. You can switch left-handed, and now you are the pro, the first in the family, the first on my wife's side of the family, were Teo Alibegovic. She was formerly the leading scorer for Slovenia before Luka Doncic outscored him this last year. Prior to that was Teo. Played at Oregon State with Gary Payton, won a ring, and then was all Pac-10 back then. It's back then. But anyway, he's first pro in the line as an NBA player.
Yep.
His three cousins are all playing professionally in Italy, doing very well. You guys over there, you love basketball. I know you do, but check out some of these Italian leagues.
Yeah.
It's Omar Begovic. It's Mirza, M-I-R-Z-A, and it's Benis, all over in Italy. And in fact, Omar's team won the Division I last year in Italy. So it really, we have the pedigree of the basketball, which really helps because it takes a village. The saying is like this. It says it takes a village to grow a man. Say it like a village to grow a woman too. So I wouldn't say male, female, but I just want to say the way it was said. So the original saying was this, David. It's kind of my approach to parenting. It says success has 1,000 fathers. Failure is an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
And what Kennedy said, and I know where he came. They came from Greece or something. But I would like to say it's like, hey, yeah, success has 1,000 fathers. There's a lot of people that Luka worked out twice with that are posting on Facebook that they trade Luka. And of course, anyone that knows, and I don't care what people want to say. I don't care. My son's a pro. That's all I have to say.
Right.
Is my son's a pro. I don't have to, end of sentence. But they try and claim it. I said, Luka, I don't care. Luka doesn't care. I said, let them say what they want, the truth. You know, the daughter of time is truth. That was one of Lincoln's famous, I'm trying to think, Thomas Gray. I don't know who the poet was. But anyway, the daughter of time is truth. So the truth is, it is self-evident what, how we got there. So, it's leading to that, I would, where was I? I'm going to lose my train of thought. But,
we were talking.
I'd say that success has 1,000 fathers, and for Luka and I, and as a dad, I suggest for everyone else out there, failure but one. I'm going to be that guy that's going to make sure that if anything goes down, I'm there for, I'm going to be that guy.
Yep.
Just like he is for me and our family. Some go down. I would be standing there. All those other 1,000 voices, they never called you. You were younger, and they want to call you now. I don't care. But they weren't then there. They won't be that because they're fair weather.
Yep.
And they really don't care enough about it. So anyway, he learned all that. And that's just not for a young person to learn. But David, there's so many benefits of being in that role because you learn about life through sport. Because I believe, sport is life in the miniature. And you can teach how to be in business, which is now Luka's in business now.
Yep.
You'll be the first one I'm going to announce this on, and I'm not going to say it fully, to tease everyone else out there, but you'll be noted as the first. October 16th in Chicago, Luka's going to be announcing something very large about what he's done with Luka Garza NFT Group, which NFT standing for non-fungible token.
Yep.
And it's easy to find out what it's about. Don't panic out there, anyone, when you say NFT and get, what is it? You go to Twitter, search NFT. There's several videos, and it sounds it's so fun. And the last thing I'd say about this is real quick is the concept of NFTs NFTs came out of a concept called blockchain.
Yep.
And blockchain it's a technology that in language, a blockchain program that allows things to become immutable. The concept, David, of immutability, which means it's unchangeable.
Yep.
So once it's on the blockchain, you can't change it. So artwork now can't be counterfeited. Tickets can't be scalped without the ticket holder getting paid. So many beautiful things you can do. So anything that you do off chain is better on the blockchain because it's immutable. No one can counterfeit it. No one can mess with it. So we put artwork on there. Luka did and we together created the Luka Garza NFT group. We're changing that name. We're going to be making that announcement on the 16th. I just want you to mark my words. It'll be huge.
I will mark those words. Speaking of huge, by the way, we've talked about your background. We talked about, how kind of Luka got to this point. His contract was just announced. So I said congratulations earlier, but I want to say it again because it is a big deal.
Thank you.
And it's the two-year contracts. The Pistons have, Isaiah Stewart, Kelly Olynyk. They've got some bigs already on, ahead of him, quote unquote. I don't know if they're ahead or not, but that's the big speculation now is where's Luka going to be for the next several months? Is he going to be over on Wayne State's campus where I went to school? Or is he going to, be over at Little Caesars Arena or both? Sometimes which way is he going to go? So that's the big question. How do you kind of see it playing out? I mean, obviously I don't think that. So as his father, obviously he's like, you have your own projections and all those things. And you're also a very realistic person. That helps. I think that's one of the reasons he's so grounded is because he's grounded in reality and the fact that, you have to put more work in, son. That's how that goes. Where do you see it? Where do you see that split happening? Do you think it's going to end up being mostly Motor City Cruise, 50-50? What's your guess or prediction on that?
Well, in times like these, I reflect on Abe Lincoln quote, which is, the great thing about the future is it comes one day at a time. I try to caution Luka, because I've learned this over the years. And we teach us and that, in our fellowship selling work, and Luka's learned it all the way through. By the way, I have a youth program called Elevate Sportshood.net. It's on my Twitter thing, but it's like it talks about this. We talked about it for some time, is to try and be present and have intense presence, letting go of all that future tripping. People typically are either in the past or in the future, and they're missing everything that's going on. And most of what's going on are all the solutions to where they want to go or what they want to avoid in the past. So it's all so a miscarriage of energy because there's the back, the past, and there's no future in the past. The past is relevant insofar as it illuminates the future. So when we apply that philosophy, look, okay, what in my game can I take to the next level? Like you said, look up, what do we need to do? So it's not like we got in shape. He played 30 plus minutes as a big in the Big Ten, and when three guys were coming at him, smash him all game without an injury. The guy was in shape big time. He was Garzilla all the way, pounding. And in the NBA, he doesn't need to play forward. He needs to play fading. So we needed to add the fadeaway, which we've been working on for 7 years. And now we could use, you're going to see the skyhook or this and that. So here's what I say. And I remember you mentioned it earlier, and thank you for your time. Congratulations. It warms my heart, and my heart's about ready to pop out.
I bet it is.
That's why I'm growling so much at the moment. I normally use Morse code. I really don't say it. I'm dominating all the talking. I've forgiven everyone out there for having listened to me. But I say this to you. Our whole family's about, making their own way. So it's like when Luka was first drafted, I had read some stuff, and I kind of look at that because I'm kind of also now in charge of this business manager, kind of this image, this platform that we built together. This whole thing, image, father stuff, is something we built together. It is unique. It is strange. People go, how do you do that? Because I'm correcting my son. He gets mad at me, and then I'm going to correct him. It doesn't work. How do you do it? So there's a lot of fun stuff around that. That goes through that. But there were some people who were very happy about it. Some reporters, what a terrible pig. He's coming Liz. He's a turd. And so I started posting some stuff saying, hey, this guy right now is the best shooter of the NBA. It's a big. That's my statement. He's going to shoot up 50%. And, I just tried to put some stuff. So I backed it up by he's shooting from he's shooting from basically the jump circle, 42 feet. Here's 20 in a row, bang. Here's 22 in a row, bang. Here's just try, hey, let's someone else show me that they could do that. No one else can. And the reason why is because he's done over 20,000 hours of doing it. Now, someone maybe could match it.
Yep.
And this and that. But listen, he's had to overcome the tangible skills with his intangibles, and then add a whole another dimension of leadership, talking, fellowship, and caring about his team more than himself. So here's what I predict. I predict, like Lincoln, the future will come one day to die. But I'm going to say this, just like everyone in the Summerland, and my dad will say to me, he'll say, hey, 400 men in Vegas at the Summerland, 134 were vets, right? Luka ends up 11th best, and he led in a couple of categories as a guy who they say he's not a rim protector, or he did block rim shots and dunks left and right, had 5 in one game. And so I'm going to say, shame on you for doubting any further. So let's see what happens in preseason. And Coach Casey and Troy, I'm confident, are going to know how to mix in Luka's heart within the team structure. He knows Jeremy Grant. We work out together. He's being tutored by him and others there. Kelly's a great big to learn from. He's got such great footwork. Stewart's such a big, powerful man. And I think they genuinely like each other. I think that's what Troy had in mind. I think that's what King helps brings together. You got Lee, who's a beautiful point guard. I would love to have played with a guy that could pass you the ball like that.
Yep.
So anyway, I think you're going to see Luke now find where he can contribute, and then he's going to do that. When you look at his stats, one of the ones he was number one on, same in college, was his effectiveness per minute.
Yep.
What things happen when he's on the court? And it's kind of like this: with Luka, without.
Yep.
Up or down. When you're in there, it's cohesive. He started every game in the summer league, and by the way, they won all 3.
Yep. I can 1,000% relate to that, not just as a coach and having known players like that, but I myself was a player who was like that. There was a stat when I was in school: if I played more than 3 quarters, we won. We won.
There you go.
If I did not, if I played less than 3 quarters, we lost every single game. And it was the same thing. It was intangibles, it was intelligence, it was heart, it was doing what needs to be done for us to win. And so that to watch, I watched Luka in college, and I saw the evolution and was like, wow, this is great. And that's growth. That's what you want to see. As not just a parent, but as a coach, you want to see growth. And to watch Summer League, I mean, the Pistons fans are pretty hyped up right now. I saw the biggest comment people made to the story today was that he's the best Luka in the NBA. So I hope that's something. Since he doesn't look at the comments, I thought at least if he listens to this, he'll hear that. So that's what's being said about him. Detroit fans are all in on him, and again, I can't say
we're so blessed. David, I wanted to say too that I totally understand why people would be frowned out, because most people don't watch college basketball. They don't care about us. And say, well, why would you? They just pound it in. So I totally get it. But what I really love about Detroit is, and I always have, there's no new thing. This dates back to even before the Bad Boys, but just in terms of everything about Detroit in history and stuff. So it's like they could see his heart, they could see his passion, they could see what he's jumping on the floor, he's diving, he's taking charges, he's doing everything he can for his team. And I think people, because that's what we're made of. Every one of us does that for their family or something, some part of our life we're doing, and to see him do it is something that resonates deeply with folks, and I know it does with me. And he's playing for himself, but he's a reflection of his family, and that makes us. Not just my wife and my wife's Sarajevo, born in Bosnia and stuff, but in that great history and culture. But just every coach, every kind of person that touched him, that helped mold him into the 55 he is today. So my prediction is this: he's going to find where he can contribute. He's going to contribute in probably one of the most efficient ways. He's going to shoot over 50% from 3. So my question would be, can you afford to not have him in a game it's a plug and play, Dave. He played 4 years in college, 2 years. Last year was double and triple team. He don't need to warm up or practice anymore. He needs to go compete on the big level because he's ready I don't say this the wrong way. G League's great, tremendous athletes. Look at Jalen Green. Look at Kamunga. Look at Thor coming out of G League. These guys are the top 10, and Thor being second round. These guys are tremendous hoopers. But Luka has fundamentals. He knows how to play. And his experience as the best player in college basketball, he knows how to play, compete. Let's see what he can do now out there on the big stage. Let's see if, is Luka, will he contribute to help the team win? Well, can't change the stripes of the tiger. He's done it his whole career. He's done it here. He done it this summer where there's no way he was going to get a contract at Okafor and Sekou. Sekou was a great athlete, great people. Just Luka moved in. And so he forged that. And that's what I predict. Luka will forge his way wherever the opportunity is. G League, we embrace that, squeeze it, and we'll do whatever it takes to be the best that we're capable of becoming. And if it's that every game, then that he's going to do it. The thing I'm trying to caution is, hey, Luka's 82 games. Please stop working out 3 times a day. Save your body.
Yep.
Stop. It's a different thing. Stop working out so much. So he's just so much in love with it. So influenced by so many players, Kobe including in his incredible workout schedule, that he's just going to give that to Detroit. And I know it's only for a year because of the contract guarantee, and then we got to love plus and all those fun things. So let's just see what happens in a year. And I just would caution, just give us the chance. And thank you to everyone for seeing that. For you to see his heart beats in you. And that's what I'm saying. That's why he resonates. And so I'm so happy people change their opinion about him and they embraced him, because he's never, ever going to forget. This is his childhood dream incarnate, come true, right? And did it in Detroit, in a great city with a great, I really like Jerry. I don't want to get too much of off on that, but what a great league. Josh Jackson, my dad coached in Napa at Prolific Prep. So he knows Josh. So, there's so many connections here.
Perfect, yeah.
And that I really feel that the Lord decided to take me today. And of course, I miss seeing some games, but I checked my box and tried to do the best I could for my kids, both ways. Both my kids, with family.
Yeah, Frank, you are an amazing man, and you have an amazing son. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. Again, Frank mentioned this earlier, but October 16th, right? Is it the 16th that Luka's going to be in Chicago?
October 16th, Luka is going to be dropping the not an NFT. He's going to talk about that, but his company, Luka Garza NFT Group, which was formed to solve NIL for college players, and not only college players, artists in young ages, to monetize their name, image, and likeness. So he's come up with a huge solution that's going to become the standard for which all other NIL, NFT memorabilia work will be done. So I don't want to say too much more than that, but
that's a great teaser.
Working at basketball, and he's also an entrepreneur. He graduated. It was very important for a stage in the old school. Go to school 4 years, get a degree, then move on from there. So you have something to fall back on. He's using his degree at KP School of Business in Iowa to do what you're going to hear about on the 16th, which I think is very powerful.
Well, Frank, thank you again for coming on. Again, continued success for your son and for you and your entire family. And again, if you're not following Frank on Twitter, he's Frank Garza 57. You can learn more about what Luka's doing with the NFT Group by going to lukagarza.nftgroup.io. And of course, if you like this podcast, please don't forget to give us 5 stars rating on Apple Podcasts. Thanks again, Frank.
All right, great. I'm a fan of your show, David. Appreciate it.